We have gone from theatre to film. It was theatre, television, then film. That was our history. And so for us, a lot of the pioneers came from theatre.
Evidently, you can see right away the similarity. You can see the link between the traditional theatre and cinema in most of the productions, in Nollywood, the Yoruba side of Nollywood. Because it was the same group that, went from, they made a transition from the Yoruba traveling theatre to television, to radio, to television, then to film, then to, the current home video. You can see they've kept the same style.
One day, my parents sent me on an errand, and I saw a lorry, music, or dancing, throwing down leaflets. I picked them up to find out when I got home that it was Ogunde concert party. Where we are now, we just entered the Ogunde's estate. This building is where Daddy lived. This is my father's tomb. He was buried here, right here. Perhaps you want to see, these are the vehicles that were used when he took the films, the movies that he shot, when he was taking them around the country and the West Coast as in Accra, Takoradi, Lome, Cotonou. All those people liked to watch Ogunde. When he was on stage, we used to travel all those places, and when the movies came out, we took them all around there. Late in the 70s, the cinema started coming into Nigeria. So Daddy thought, well, he's got lots of plays, he's got many plays that he has staged, so let's put it to the public in the celluloid as well. And he did it, but he did it in 35mm, like they do in Hollywood. He got his crew from the UK, the films were processed in the UK, and he turned out to be the toast of the people. Here you find the props that were used in the movies. It's a big gorilla. Oh, yeah. It was a lot better than this when it was used, Ogunde has inspired a lot of people, and I just hope seriously that all of them would give him credit for that, because some people are still in denial, which is commonplace with human beings, but he actually inspired a lot of people.
And they shot in film until the 80s. All those big filmmakers, they shot into the 80s, deep into the 80s.
They made quite a number of great films, and some of those films really traveled film festivals all over the world. And apart from making film, they were also doing their own they had their own distribution framework, where they take these films all around Africa, screening in cinemas, in all over Nigeria, then in Togo, in Abidjan, in Gabon, in Benin Republic, all over. So they weren't just filmmakers; they were running like a studio. And the studio covers filmmaking and distribution.
The heir to the throne has come back at last.
I remember in the late 80s, making film became very difficult, because then there wasn't any film lab in Nigeria. So when you shoot on film, you need to go to London to process your film.
It was very expensive filmmaking that relied on foreign funds to happen. And when the funds dried up because of military dictatorship, the film industry died a natural death. And from the ashes of that, I would say, rose a film industry that wasn't as technical as that colonial one, but that was based on a more sustainable platform that involved selling DVDs and going straight to video and gathering your friends and telling a story and putting it on tape and making money out of it. So from that very commercial formula, which started with Living in Bondage in 1992, emerged what we call today Nollywood.
That name Nollywood came. People started shooting on video cameras, and they were putting it on VHS. And it was more like, telenovela, TV drama. But because it's being viewed in homes, people call it film. And film it is.
Kenneth Niboy's Living in Bondage, that was the explosion.
Sparked the interest. It didn't begin Nollywood. It sparked the interest. It made a lot of people know that, look, it is possible to package these films properly, and then it will make sales. I mean, you get your monies back after making the film. So Living in Bondage did not begin Nollywood. It only sparked the interest. It got a lot of people interested in making commercial home video production.
And you're giving them the one bridge the way giving them about the
So Becken and Niboy now said, look, we need to move a step further from just putting, those days the jackets were very funny. They would just take a picture, make it in plenty copies, and then get the VHS tape and just slip the picture into it. That's what you had as packaging. But when he now did Living in Bondage, he said, look, let me get popular stars. Let me make a film in Igbo language. Popular stars who have made name on TV. So he said, why don't you get these guys, put them into a story, get them to interpret a story, and then we can release as Living in Bondage. So it was that story that came out as Living in Bondage. It sold widely, and then everybody down said, if this man can make a success of it, why don't we get him? That was how it got into place. And that's how we started the journey to what we call the Nigerian home video industry, which was later, because the name Nollywood came only in 2005 or so, which was later dubbed Nollywood. But what we had was a journey that started in the 90s, and that journey is the journey of the Nigerian home video production.
What Living in Bondage did for the industry, and which you cannot take away from the industry, is that someone dared to believe, and he dared to put to action what he believed in, regardless of, regardless of technological limitations, regardless of what the rest of the world was doing. He used what he had, what was available to him at the time, to do what he needed to do. And at that time, a lot of people sneered. A lot of people, for them, I'll be honest with you, at that stage, I felt it was infra-dig. Shoot on VHS or to do a feature film at that. I was one of those who felt it was infra-dig. It was either film or nothing.
Then the next thing that happened, personally, I said it's subjective again. Kunle Afolayan came and did the figuring. Yeah. A lot of people who were sitting on their ideas and just hoping that one day Shah will do this, they saw the figurine, including me. And I was like, oh, this guy just did this. I could relate with a lot of things he did. The cinematography was beautiful by Yinka Davis, yeah. Beautiful. The directing was beautiful and all that. And it looked cinematographically excellent.
There is an old folk tale that when the goddess Araromire wanted to come to the earth, she asked the priest to bring her forth from the back of a cursed tree.
So figuring came at that time when, you know, we have seen it all. I mean, yes, the home video thing is booming, but I always want to do something different, and I set out to do it. I got people of like minds. I was looking for the best, and originally I was actually going to use foreign crew, you know, a foreign DP and all that. But as God will have it, you know, the foreign DP thing did not work, and eventually I had to settle for a Nigerian DP.